Part 1. The suspicion. The hallway didn't hum, it hissed. Whispers chased footsteps. Rumors leaked through lockers like smoke. And for Jenna Torres, it felt like the entire school was on fire. Not with flames, but with suspicion. She was used. To silence. Preferred it. 16 years old, and already mastered the art of staying small. No loud laughter. No drama. Just books, grades, and dreams, stitched tightly behind quiet eyes. But that morning, that silence turned hostile, and the whispers had weight. Did you hear? They say she was in there. I thought she was smart. Guess not. She kept walking, eyes forward, shoulders tight, but her stomach was at war. It started second period. A message. Please report to the main office. Simple. Deadly. She stepped in. 3 adults. 4 stares. Principal Meyer cold as concrete. Vice Principal Harrow flipping a file like it was her rap sheet. And Mrs. Briggs, the guidance counselor, wearing that forced smile people wear before. They say something they know will hurt. Jenna, sit down, she did, heart hammering against her ribs. Yesterday, after school hours, someone saw you near Mr. Adams' desk. Pause. Wait. She blinked. Yeah, I dropped off my history essay. He said to leave it on the corner. You didn't mention that to anyone. I didn't think I had to. Wrong answer. The room shifted. Judgment sharpened. Mr. Adams' gradebook is missing, Harrow said. Jenna's mouth opened, then shut. Because what do you say when you're being accused of something that's already decided? I didn't take anything. Her voice cracked just slightly. They didn't believe her. We have to investigate. For now, we're suspending you, just like that. Her world paused. Her mother didn't yell, didn't even cry. She just looked tired. Like this. This was worse than screaming. Worse than any punishment, disappointment. That night, Jenna laid in bed, hands clenched in her sheets, eyes wide, anger boiling quiet. They thought she was weak, soft. A silent girl wouldn't fight back, right? Wrong. They underestimated the storm that lives inside the quiet. Next morning, her phone was dead. Not from battery, but from abandonment. No texts, no calls. Her tutoring students ghosted her. Even Nina, her only friend, left her on read. She walked through school like a ghost. People moved aside, but not out of respect. Fear, judgment, disgust. Someone snickered. Guess straight A's come, with sticky fingers. Mr. Adams didn't even look at her. She passed him in the hallway. He turned away. That hurt the most. He used to believe in her, called her one of the brightest minds he'd taught. Now, he wouldn't even say her name. She wanted to cry, wanted to shout, wanted to scream at the walls, at the system, at the brokenness of it all, but she didn't, because she was too busy thinking, and thinking is dangerous when you're smart. And quiet and pissed. The timeline didn't make sense. Why now? Why her? She replayed the moment in her head over and over, dropping off her essay. No one else was in the room unless... She pulled up her student portal, navigated to the outdated but still active building schematics, and found the internal security archives. Most students didn't even know it existed. She did. 3 years of being invisible made her good at finding hidden things. The footage wasn't perfect, grainy, choppy, but the timestamp matched, and what she saw made her breath stop mid-rib. It wasn't her, it was Ella Jenkins, top 5%, class vice president. Always one step below Jenna in rankings, and now she had motive, opportunity, and damning footage. There she was, in Mr. Adams' room, alone, slipping something into her bag. It wasn't a long clip, but long enough. Jenna's hands trembled as she printed the still. It wasn't just suspicion now. It was proof. But proof means nothing if no one listens. The question was, would they listen now? She held the paper like a blade, not to cut, but to defend. And as she zipped her bag and looked at her reflection in the mirror, the girl staring back wasn't invisible anymore. She was furious and focused. Jenna whispered to herself as she opened the door. They thought I wouldn't. Fight back. Part 2. The confrontation, Jenna didn't knock. She walked into the office like she belonged there, like the truth had weight now, like silence was no longer her shield, but her sword. Principal Meyer glanced up, startled. "Ms. Torres, I need 5 minutes." Her voice didn't shake. It didn't rise, but it cut. Vice Principal Harrow straightened in her seat. Mrs. Briggs blinked. Jenna stepped forward, pulled a folded paper from her binder, unfolded it with precision, laid it down gently on Meyer's desk. "Play it," she said. He frowned. Brows furrowed, clicked the file. Low-resolution video, security feed, time-stamped. Muted, but louder than any words she could say. Ella Jenkins, caught in grayscale, entering Mr. Adams' classroom, pausing, looking around, opening a drawer, sliding something black, rectangular, into her backpack. Jenna didn't blink, didn't breathe. She let them watch, let them sit in the silence of their own misjudgment. Harrow broke it. "How did you—" "Student archives," Jenna said. "Still publicly accessible if you know where to look. Most people don't." Briggs leaned in closer. Her face shifted from surprise to shame. Meyer sighed. Heavy, regretful, like it had taken that footage to unlock his own eyes. This changes everything," Jenna nodded. "I know." Silence again, but this time it was theirs, not hers. She turned to leave, paused at the door. "Next time you accuse someone like me, make sure you've looked at everyone else first." And just like that, she walked out. It took only 3 hours. Ella was pulled from chemistry, summoned like a ghost from her perfect little castle of GPA dreams. Jenna didn't see it. Didn't need to, but she heard. Ella cried, tried to deny it. "This is a setup. Someone's out to get me." She spun stories, built a defense with shaky hands until they brought out the stills, zoomed in, her face, her bag, her shoes, a rare brand of sneakers her dad bought her for track season. Limited edition, hard to miss, even harder to deny. She buckled, not all at once, piece by piece, tears, apologies, excuses. "My parents, they expect me to get into Yale. If I lose valedictorian, you framed an innocent girl," Meyer said. "That's not pressure, that's a choice." Ella's mouth trembled, but her voice failed. This time, no one believed her. Mr. Adams called that evening, not an email, not a note, a call. Jenna stared at the screen when it buzzed, didn't answer at first, didn't know how. But on the third ring, she picked up. "Hello, Jenna," he said, his voice cracked, like shame was caught in his throat. "I owe you an apology." She waited, let the words hang, let him feel the silence she'd been forced to sit with for days. "I didn't know how to defend you without evidence," he said. "And I should have believed in you more than a rumor." "You did believe it," she whispered. That hurt the most. The man who encouraged her, said she had a Harvard kind of mind, had turned away, let the whispers swallow her whole. "I was wrong," he said. She nodded, even though he couldn't see it. Some truths didn't need to be shouted, but they still stung. Next day, her name changed again. From thief, back to genius. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like cleanup, like the mess was wiped off her record, but not her memory. Apologies came from the principal, from Harrow, even Briggs. Handwritten letters sent to the colleges she'd applied. 2. Please disregard prior communications. Student has been exonerated. Like she was a crime scene they'd finally dusted for truth. Jenna read the letters. Didn't smile, didn't cry. Just tucked them into a folder labeled, "When They Doubted Me." "Because you never know when you'll need receipts." She passed Ella in the hallway 2 days later. The girl looked smaller, hollowed out. Whispers chased her now. She cheated. She almost ruined someone's life. Jenna didn't stop. Didn't. Slow. But Ella did. She turned, eyes red, lips trembling, and whispered, "I was wrong about you." Jenna met her gaze, held it like a sword between them and said, "I know," then walked away. Because forgiveness isn't owed, not when the wound still bleeds. Later that week, Nina messaged, The friend who ghosted her, who went silent when things got ugly. "Hey, I'm sorry I didn't reach out. I just didn't know what to believe." Jenna stared at the message for a long time, then typed 2 words. "Now you do." Pressed send, closed the app. Some people only show up when the dust settles. Jenna didn't need those people anymore. She had proof, she had peace, and she had power now. But power doesn't mean noise. Sometimes it means clarity. Knowing who you are. When others try to rewrite your story. Knowing when to speak and when to let the truth speak for you. Part 3, the triumph. 3 years later, different building, different name on the door, but the feeling, familiar. Jenna stood just outside the hearing room. Now 19, college sophomore. No longer the girl people ignored. Now, she was the one they called when things didn't feel right. She had a reputation. Sharp mind, sharper instincts. The girl who caught liars without raising her voice. She looked down at the file in her hand. A case, simple on the surface. Freshman boy, accused of cheating. Same narrative, different chapter, same feeling in her gut. Something's off. They said he copied an exam. That he slipped the test answers under his desk and smiled when they caught him. No one asked why he'd smile while being caught. No one questioned the perfect evidence. But Jenna knew better, because she'd lived that script. She stepped into the room. Committee seated. Dean watching, freshman boy shaking. She sat beside him, opened the folder. "Permission to speak freely?" she asked. The dean nodded, and Jenna began, calm, controlled. "Cutting. There's a timestamp problem," she said. "Exam wasn't printed until 7:43 a.m. She held up the paper. "Footage shows the accused arriving at 7:20. She slid a screenshot across the table. "Empty hands, no backpack." The panel looked up. She continued. "The copy center logs were wiped, but our IT director keeps backups. Another image, another receipt, printed by another student, the accuser." All eyes turned, the freshman beside her trembled, tears in his eyes. He whispered, "How did you?" Jenna didn't flinch. "Because I know what it feels like. To be blamed, to be alone, to be innocent in a world that only sees guilt." They cleared his name. Sanctions dropped. Accuser suspended. But Jenna didn't smile, not because she wasn't proud, but because even when you win, you still remember what it felt like to lose. That night she walked campus alone. The moon watched quietly, as if it too remembered. She passed the law library. Her next dream, not to become a lawyer, but a protector, a translator of truth for the voiceless. She sat on the bench outside, same one she found the night she broke, when she almost gave up, the night her own story tried to bury her. But instead, she rose. Graduation came too fast. Cap and gown, tassels swinging in the wind. Valedictorian, Jenna Torres. They handed her the mic. She didn't talk about GPA, didn't list achievements. She told a story about a girl who was framed, who walked through fire without raising her voice, who found power in silence and justice in persistence, and who promised no one would ever go unheard again. In the crowd, someone stood off to the side. Ella Jenkins, older now. Duller eyes, alone, clapping. Jenna saw her, didn't wave, just nodded, one nod. That said everything. We're done. No hatred, no grudge, just closure. The final chapter sealed. Later that night, alone in her dorm, Jenna pulled out the file she kept. The unlabeled day everything changed. Inside, the grainy footage, the apology letter, a crumpled detention notice she never served. She folded it all back up, slipped it into a box, wrote one word on the lid, proof. Then she slid it under her bed, not to forget but to remember who she was and who she'd become. Pain doesn't always break you. Sometimes it builds something stronger. Sometimes the quiet girl becomes the loudest voice in the room, not by yelling, but by showing up, speaking truth, and refusing to disappear. Jenna Torres was underestimated, framed, forgotten, but she didn't shatter, she sharpened. So when the world tries to define you, don't argue, just rise and let your life whisper, I was wrong about you.